Yes, you're good. No. That's the fear, right? Everyone's smiling at you. I think they're happy to see your face. I think they haven't seen your face in so long. They're so happy. That's why it's so weird. Must be nice. That's right. You feel like, what are we doing? That's right. Nice. I know. Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see you. Yep. Start. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Listen once. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Like we have to reach for the pure words. It's a little harder. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. You can do that. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. We'll sing it one more time, and each phrase we get there, just try to turn your bodies and your Shabbat spirits into each of those. Your eyes to truth, the truth in front of you, the truth of those sitting around you. Your hands to be givers of help and care, and your eyes and your lips to speak words of purity, of justice and kindness, and ultimately our hearts to love. One more time. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love.
Erev Tov, good evening, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is such a joy to be able to gather for Shabbat tonight, for Kabbalat Shabbat, for those of us in person, those of us streaming from all over the world with our song leader Dylan, with our cantor, and especially with our Grumbacher musician in residence, Rosalie Will, cantor Rosalie Will. For this service, you will notice that we have mostly been leading services with our masks on, even when we were the only people in the room. For this service to be able to better facilitate people being able to understand the words that are being spoken, that are being sung, service leaders will be taking masks off while they are leading. And only during that. So you're going to see, as soon as I put this microphone back down, the mask is coming right back on. And I'm going to encourage people to do that, even though the numbers are so much better than they were. We want to protect each other. We want to take care of each other. We want to support each other. And now in this moment, we celebrate Shabbat with each other. We turn, I believe, to page 344. as we get to sing to God a new song, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash.
There's a story told of two friends who were walking down a very busy street, perhaps Manhattan or Los Angeles. And as the two friends are walking down the street, one turns to the other, very busy boulevard in New York City, and says, "Did you hear that?" Another friend turns and looks and says, "Did I hear what? All I hear is the honking of the taxi cabs and the squealing of the bus brakes and the dinging of the bike messenger bells and all of this talking." The first friend says, "That's amazing. Did you hear that?" "I don't know." First friend says, "Come with me." And they walk down the end of the boulevard to the corner. They wait for the light to change. They cross the street to the other side. And they start walking back up the other long boulevard. And the first friend again turns to the other and says, "Oh my goodness, did you hear that? It's amazing." The other friend says, "What are you talking about? I just hear the honking of the taxi cabs and the squealing of the bike brakes and the dinging of the bike messenger bells and all this talking." "Come with me." First friend pulls the other friend over, and along one of the storefronts is a window box. First friend says, come, let's look." And they go up to the window box. "Come closer." They peer into the window box, and inside is a cricket. And the second friend says, among all this noise, the honking of the taxi cabs, the squealing of the bus brakes, and the dinging of the bike messenger bells, and all this talking, you heard that cricket?" First friend says, "Watch this." Reaches into their pocket, and they take out a quarter. They hold it in front of them, very busy Manhattan Street, and they drop it onto the ground. Bing! The second it hits the ground, everything stops. No honks, no squeals, no dinging, no talking. Everyone turns to look. The first friend says, "It all depends on what you're listening for." It all depends on what you're listening for. The beauty of Shabbat, the beauty of being in community is that we can start to reorient what it is we're listening for. Not our phones and our lists and our to-dos in the world, which our attention is towards and our heart is towards, but what we listen for to energize us to do that is what matters. So maybe in this Shabbat or tomorrow you might hear those crickets among all the noise, if only you train yourself to do so. So Shir Chadash, a new song, a song we've heard before, but maybe we'll hear the cricket. We'll hear something a little different as we sing it together.
We welcome the light of Shabbat into our lives, and we welcome Jen Steinberg, our past president, to come up to the bima to bless our Shabbat lights. If you at home have not had a chance to light your Shabbat candles yet, we invite you to join with us as Jen leads us in the English of the blessing and cantor in the Hebrew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivonu להדליק נר של שבת.
We turn to page 20. We welcome Shabbat like a bride, like a queen, as we join in singing Lecha Dodi, remembering to rise on the last verse and not a minute before that. The last verse to welcome the Sabbath bride.
And turn now to page 28 for our call to worship. On page 30 for Ma'ariv Aravim, the Hebrew that I'll share as part of this tefillah will sound different, but the melody perhaps for some will be similar, will be familiar to you. And as we end this Ma'ariv, this orientation of our relationship with nature, we will join together in the Chatima, the very last line. Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. You'll know what to do when it comes. כשאני רואה בחלוני את שמריק בך וגם לי אני שר לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם השמיים חולים אנחנו לבן והבוקר בהיר והלילה ישן ואחלום לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם וכל צבעי הקשת יפים וחדשים פרוסים אחרי הגשם על פני האנשים והיום כה יפה וקל לי כל כך לומר שאני אוהב אותך I see skies of blue and clouds of white the bright blessed day and dark sacred night and I think to myself what a wonderful world. This is where you'll join me in the Chatima. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. An intention as we prepare for Shema. You were God and we were Israel, God alone, and a lonely people long ago. You loved us a great love, and you taught us how to respond to you through mitzvot, recollections, celebrations, Torah. They are the light of our eyes, the uniqueness of our being. In the joy of them, you have drawn us close to you. In the truth of them, we have discovered you, the only one. We are together still. You respond to every people in your chosen way. With your love, you have chosen to respond to us. With our love, we offer you praise. Page 40. 40. Page 40. Sometimes it's hard to feel joyous, a sense of the dance when the world feels so hard, right? There's a sense of guilt. How can we be joyful when there are still so many people not free? Sometimes I just think about it as, what is it, fake it till you make it, right? Just keep moving, keep dancing, keep finding the rootedness of joy, and that will help us even when there's so many who aren't free, but maybe by dancing, by pulling, by moving, we can start to bring that into fruition. So it happens, Cantor and I were speaking earlier, miraculously meant to be that this Shabbat for many across the world, but definitely through North America, is highest Shabbat, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society Refugee Shabbat. It's on the calendar for this was the week that unfortunately, year after year, there are so many reasons that we lift up the story of what it is in years past, Afghanis and Syrians and so many who have come. And here we are this week. And what it means for us as a Jewish community historically, so attuned to what that is for immigrants and the pain of displaced people and the pain and the loss of not knowing where you'll end up, where your meals will come, where your home will be if you'll ever return or only move forward. So incorporated into our prayers in this wonderful community that I'm honored to be a part of on this Shabbat. Perhaps to think as we move into our Hashkivenu moment, not only of those who are in need of refuge, but perhaps of your own story, of your family, where they came from, times when they didn't have a place. So in honor of some of the readings that were shared for Highest Shabbat, something that I know many of our colleagues will be thinking about as well. Source of compassion, we have not forgotten that long ago you heard the cries of Hagar as she watched our cousin Ishmael suffer near to death. You visited her with the promise of life. Today we pray that you hear the cries of innumerable mothers, Hagar, lifting their hearts to you on behalf of their children and loved ones. Guide them to safety and shelter. Protect your holy messengers from among all the world's righteous who seek to make your presence felt as a source of comfort for those seeking relief from war, violence, and death. Send consolation to those bereft of home and hearth and those who have suffered the loss of loved ones. May those suffering trauma and those in bereavement find wholeness and healing. Most of all, dear one, dear beloved, dear God, cause your spirit to dwell within all your human children, so that the words of your prophet come to fruition, that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, even its own people, and that war will be unlearned from the earth.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Hashavalon. Ve'ha'avitenu, Shomreinu lechaim. Ufos aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu lechaim. Hashkivenu, be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Will you rise for the Amidah?
Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agitei Atecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei
v'imahot, u'mebigula livnei v'neihem, lema'an shemo b'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayecha kol atara lehoshia, mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, mechakel chayim v'chesed, mechayecha kol berachamim rabim, Samech noflim v'rofeh cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, milchamocha ba'al geburot, u'midor melach, melech limit u'mechayeh, u'matzliach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We celebrate Shabbat. We experience the joy of Shabbat. We come together as a community, and even in that midst, even as we are together, we think of those who aren't able to celebrate with us right now because they lie on beds of pain, because they are suffering from an ailing of the body, an ailing of the spirit. So we pray for a healing of the body and a healing of the spirit for those who we know are in need of it. As one congregation, we think of Gil Sloan in this moment. And I would ask if you have the name in your heart of someone who's in need of healing, wish to share that name out loud. First of all, if you're following along online, I'd encourage you to share that name in the comments below on Facebook, on YouTube. And for those of us in the sanctuary, if you have a name or more than one name, somebody that you're praying for tonight, and want to share that name out loud, I'll invite you to do so as my eyes scan around the room. For all those we mention in our hearts, for all those we mention out loud, together we pray for healing. You can find the words on page 253, page 253 in the middle of the page.
Mikor habracha young man had searched for a while for a mentor, and he heard that one of the great gurus who had spent his life in meditation and was known to be a master of peace and of peacemaking would be down at a nearby stream. So this young seeker went down to the master and sat down next to him and said, "Master, I've been looking all over for you, and I want to learn your wisdom. You're known as a great peacemaker, someone who is committed to bringing justice and kindness and peace, and I want to be that person. I want to bring peace. How do I do it?" And they sat quietly for a while. And then the guru turned to this young man, took the back of his head and shoved his face into the water and held it down in the water. And the man starts fighting and fighting and fighting, and finally the guru lets him up out of the water. And the man's sputtering. He says, what did you do that for?" And the guru says, "When you were underwater, when I held you down, what is it you wanted more than anything?" And the man said, "Well, air." And the guru said, "When everybody wants peace as much as you wanted air, then perhaps there will be peace." It's one thing to say and to dream and to sing prayers and songs. We have to want it, which means we have to go be the peacemakers. And it begins with us, with all of us. Imagine if we needed peace as badly as we needed to breathe. What would happen? Peace, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Peace, peace, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. We need peace, we need peace, and let it begin with me. Oh, my own life is all I can hope to control. Oh, let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace, sweet peace, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. You know where we're going. Shalom, shalom yavo, shalom yavo, sheyatchil iti, again, shalom yavo, sheyatchil iti, oh, my own life is all I can hold to control. Oh, let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace, sweet peace, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Peace will come, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Peace will come, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Peace will come, and let it begin. Sing that again. Peace will come, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Peace will come, peace will come, peace will come, and let it begin with me.
don't want the music to stop. I don't want to interrupt the flow of our Shabbat, but certain rituals must be fulfilled, and birthdays must be honored. Who's celebrating a birthday this month? I am. Jen Steinberg is. Cheryl Hampson is. Meir Hoberman is. If you're celebrating a birthday in the month of March, in this second month of Adar, this year is so joyful. We get 2 Adars. Isn't that great? If you're celebrating a birthday, come on up. Come on up and join us. Or, as close as the dog lets you.
Maybe it's Peggy Sue's birthday too.
Is it Peggy Sue's birthday as well, Cheryl? Or? She's November. Okay. Well, no one's perfect. It's fine. In this second month of Adar, it really is, we get an extra month because it's a leap year. In the second month of Adar, when we celebrate Purim, may joy fill your days. And even on those hard days, those days where the coffee it gets cold before you get to drink it, and the phone call you don't want is the first one you get, and all the little annoyances that happen in life, may this year, may this birthday you experience, may the joy of it carry you forward, so in those moments, you're able to remember all those times when the coffee was shared with the person you love and care about, when the phone call was just the right phone call you needed from just the right friend, when everything actually fell into place. May more days be like that. Let's join together in singing Shehechianu as we celebrate these folks' birthdays. And if you're online and celebrate a birthday, tell us that too. You don't have to tell us when, just which one. Did you have a birthday in March? Let's join with our cantor in singing Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Yom Huledet Sameach, Rabbi, and everyone.
I served a congregation outside DC as their cantor for about 16 years. And early on in my time there, I was invited to a group of Hadassah, a program for Hadassah on Jewish music, and they wanted to have a cantor. And I did my presentation, I'm not sure, remember now what it was on. And I asked at the end, did the women there have any questions? And they did. There was one question, and someone asked it, and I tried to move on, and they asked it again. It wasn't about my presentation. They wanted to know, Cantor, why are there so many melodies to all the prayers? They all wanted to know, how come when they go to services, the melodies are always different? And they wanted me to answer them, and also, I could tell, make it go away. I got that sense from them. And I said, well, and I'm a agitator in some ways, a question asker. I said, well, why do you think there are so many melodies? And to a person, they all said, well, we assume the cantor is just bored, right, and want to. And I said, that's actually not really the reason. So our melodies in all of our worship evolve and change because we evolve and change. We build on all the scaffolding of everything that's come before, but we are always moving forward. Change, in addition to our service in any form, feels hard, but we've always done it. We often think that this is the time that somehow things are very radical. We've always done it. We know that's how the Reform movement, how our liturgy and our prayer book has evolved. And actually, regardless of your movement, conservative, reconstructing Judaism, even modern Orthodoxy, the prayers maybe don't change a lot, but we change. We change over time, and we change day to day and week to week. Our teacher, Rabbi Larry Hoffman, talks about the Siddur, the prayer book of our liturgy, as being the diary of the Jewish people. But imagine if you had a diary as a kid, or if you know someone. Imagine if you took your diary out from when you were young and read it, and then lived your life according to the diary. It wouldn't make sense. And you might look back at the diary and think, I really thought that? I really did that? Or, yeah, that's still me. That's part of who I am. For better or for worse, that diary, someone's diary, got printed and reproduced for all of us for generations. But it's someone else's diary. So now we supplement that diary. We take the diary of our past and we add to it readings and melodies or movement or different ways of thinking to help make it our own experience, to bring that diary with us, but to make it true for us now. Our liturgy, the words may not change, but we change. Our prayers change week to week. How we read them, how we understand them, and pray them changes. More importantly, our worship tells ourselves and tells others who we are and who we want to be. Congregations all over are looking to build worship upon the values and the vision of their congregation. So the question is, when we think about when we gather to pray in this beautiful kahal, this beautiful community, we might think, who's missing? Who are the diverse voices among all of us and among those who aren't here? If our value is that we, in prayer, in justice, in learning in our schools, as adult learners, if our value is that everyone is welcome and it's all for everyone, how does our worship get held up to that light? For example, your service here is not all in Hebrew because you need the vernacular. You've made a decision. You know that not everyone is fluent in Hebrew, and English moves many of us by its familiarity. Perhaps sometimes you use an organ, perhaps sometimes you don't, or other instruments, the piano, or sometimes you sing a cappella. It says a lot about who we are and how we experience prayer. You have a female identifying cantor. That sends a lot of information. Everything in worship is coded. It's not secret, but it communicates our values, our vision, not just of who we are, but of who we want to be. When we have different leaders, many voices telling their stories through song leadership, like the amazing Dylan. You're so lucky to have such a strong, talented, emerging leader in your congregation. Or perhaps young adults who don't play instruments, or older members who have movement and a song to teach. That sends a message about who you are and who you want to be. We often learn, I remember in school or as an adult learner, we would learn that our liturgy is the telling of the Jewish story. But as we know, we are not made up of one story. We come from Eastern Europe and North Africa, from the Middle East and Latin America. We come from Orthodox upbringings and from outside Judaism. We come from LA, or we come from Delaware or New York or Little Rock, Arkansas. We are not of one story, one tapestry perhaps, but many threads. So too our worship can and really must help us weave that tapestry. If I asked all of you to break out into the traditional Adon Olam, I predict we would all sing different ones. Which we still talk about the traditional Adon Olam, even though we all laugh because we know it's true. There is no traditional one. What's traditional? Whose tradition? Me, whose family is Eastern Europe but came to Canada in the mid-1800s. My father wasn't born Jewish and I grew up Midwest classical. Or one of you who had a non-Jewish parent and perhaps spent time with grandparents in a church. Or one of you who's come by way of Buenos Aires. We will all sing different Adon Olam settings because there is no one tradition. I never talk about tradition because it doesn't mean the same thing. There isn't a single tradition. There are customs and prayers, but not a tradition. So the great opportunity in Friday night worship is that we can be led by so many different voices and styles and experiences. We can hear melodies that were familiar to one of you, but is brand new to another one. We can watch and be moved to tears by something and look at our neighbor who's moved and at the same time wish it was a different experience altogether. My colleague, Rabbi Ken Chasen, who teaches a lot of worship leading with me and worship change, talks about prayer and gathering communally as being perfectly imperfect. And that's our goal, our job really, our great opportunity and gift in worship. That I will feel connected to or really be moved by some of the moments, some of the time. But the person next to me will be moved by other moments at other times. No one said that a whole worship service should be everything you want it to be. Prayer can't be. Prayer is hard. Just like a yoga practice or a class, a skill you're trying to learn, an outing with your family, it doesn't always go exactly the way you want it. That's the beauty of prayer. We all work together to share an experience. And frankly, in my experience, it's the sharing, it's the giving up and making way for others to be deeply moved by their stories being evident in worship can be the most powerful parts of communal prayer. Imagine if there's a melody that comes from a non-Jewish tradition or an African American tradition. That isn't your story, but someone next to you for the first time sees themselves represented by our worship. That's power, and that's beauty, and that's community. Communal prayer, communal, asks us to be in sacred communion with others as a way to better understand ourselves, our fellow walkers on the path, and ultimately the world. And if that's who we want to be, a place that's open to that, that seeks to invite people to walk their path, then our worship surely can express that for our entire community. Shabbat shalom.
We rise now and we face the ark and turn to page 282 for Aleinu L'Shabeach. Well, I get my own. 282. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol La'tet Gedula Le'yotzer B'reishit Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Ha'aratzot Velo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem V'gor Aleinu Kechor Hamanam V'anachnu Koreim Umishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelechim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. V'nemar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo 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 echad.
However brief may be our time on earth, O God, you endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. In this moment, in this Shabbat, we think of those who came before us. We remind ourselves that we stand on the shoulders of the giants in our own lives, the giants of this congregation, the giants of this community. And so I ask, if you are remembering someone tonight, whether you're in this sanctuary or the sanctuary of your home, if you are remembering someone tonight for the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, I invite you to rise at this time as you are able to do so. And if you are in the first year of your mourning physically, spiritually, I invite you to rise. And if you observe a yard site, the anniversary of a loved one's passing, I invite you to rise at this time. And if it is your custom to rise to remember the martyrs of our people, those of every race and nation who have died sanctifying the divine name, those who have died from this pandemic, those who are dying right now, whether overseas or on our streets, I invite you to rise as we join together in Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'isman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yet hadar, v'yet alev, v'yet halal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom araba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We remember Florence Green, Leo Blumberg, Frank Chaikin, Morris Cohen, Jesse Cohen, Reba Feldman, Mildred Fertig, Elsie Freeman, Jacobet Topkes R. Gerson, Bessie Greenfield, Philip Klein, Hattie Kutz, Saul Levin, Louis Polikoff, Louis Resnick, Evelyn Robinson, Francis Selden, Lena Spivak, Nathan Spivak, Leonard Stein, Elaine S. Stein, Benjamin J. Steinberg, Leonard G. Weinstock, Julius Weisberg, Rissy Zeenberg, and David Goodzeit. And I would ask if you have a name to add, feel free to do so online in the comments below here in the sanctuary as my eyes scan around the room. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing as we say amen. And we can be seated. Many thanks to Cantor Will, our musician in residence, and much gratitude to the Rabbi Grumbacher Music Fund. We're so glad to be able to celebrate this weekend with you, and we get more opportunities to be with you. Did you sign up for tomorrow night yet?
I did.
Okay, good. I actually did. If you didn't, you still can, because we'd love to have you there. It will not be a live streamed event, so if you are in town and you can join us, we would love to have you. If you are not in town, we apologize. We're so glad we got to celebrate with you tonight. But we're going to have Cantor Will tomorrow night. We're going to have Cantor Will with us in religious school on Sunday, and it's amazing and wonderful, and you should be part of all of that. Torah study tomorrow at 9:30 with service in the round on Zoom, as usual. Click on that link on the front page, and you can join us for that. Lots else going on coming up, like Purim. Oh yeah, that's right there. Like our blood drive that we're doing next month. We might be celebrating somebody's 50th anniversary of their rabbinate in a couple of weeks. No big deal. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And lots else going on. So please, please, please. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention we've got a chocolate Seder coming up in early April as well. There should be flyers out there if you want to check that out too. Finally, many thanks to Rachel Greenspan for keeping our live stream live and streaming. And thanks to Dylan Steinberg, our song leader, for co-leading tonight. Always a joy. I think we're going to... Did I miss anything?
Just 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night. That is the time of our program.
Which you would know if you signed up.
Yeah. Yep.
Just saying.
It's going to be
All right.
great.
We're going to conclude by staying right on the page we're on. We're going to be at the bottom of that page as we join with Dylan, with Cantor Will, with Cantor Flynn in singing O Say Shalom and praying for that peace we so desperately need. We can all rise. And once our service is over, there are snacks. We're bringing snacks back. It's good.
Or is it like a grab and go neck? No, flat. It's good.
For the first time.
Oh, say shalom b'roma. Ooh, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei teivo ve'imru.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.